What was the biggest challenge for you and disaster management in the last decade?
If I look back into the last 10 years, I don't want to name only one single event because we have seen a sequence of tremendous disaster events around the world. I would like to start with the earthquake in 2010, in January 2010 to make it specific, when a strong earthquake hit Haiti and where thousands of people have died in the rubble of their collapsing houses. And even just in the next year, in 2011, we have experienced the strong earthquake in front of the coastline of Japan, the strong Eastern Japan earthquake, followed by a tsunami wave, and then the nuclear go in Fukushima. If we think about Europe, especially Germany, we have seen strong floodings in 2013 in the Elbe region, in Bavaria. And to conclude this sequence of hydrometeorological events, if we think about flood and storms, then we have seen the cyclone Pam that hit Vanuatu in the Pacific region last year.
Will there be more disasters due to climate change or growth of humanity?
That's a tricky question. It's a complicated question, and as you may know, there's a strong discussion in the scientific community, and I think nobody would argue seriously that this is a one reason affair. So we always have to see the complex picture, the bigger picture, and it became a trend over the last year that climate change is blamed for everything, which is not true. Of course, we have changes that we can see clearly in the atmospheric system of the Earth, but in this combination of climate change and environmental change and population growth, and that more and more people are settling in areas where they are more vulnerable and exposed to disasters, exactly in this consequence, we will see more disasters for human mankind in the future. But the natural hazard as such, and as the only criteria, cannot be the reason for increasing death rates in the population.
How can education help? How can international study program help? What can students of this university do?
This is also a very good question, because this is basically the motivation why we have opened or started the joint master program of environmental risks and human security 2 years ago here in Bonn. And this brings together students basically with a geoscientific background, but the goal is to train these people to get a better understanding on the natural hazards on the one side, but also on the socioeconomic impacts on the other side, and how communities can prepare themselves to get a better resilience to cope with disasters in the future. This is our goal that we are working for in Bonn, and especially also in the university here, Rhein-Sieg. I think there are a lot of points. You have a very strong focus on technological aspects from different perspectives, though. So the engineering case, but also the journalism case. Media is playing an enormous role in disaster management around the world, but also engineers are increasingly challenged to find better solutions for increased disasters around the world. So I think if you look deeper into this matter, you will find manifold solutions where especially the students who get the degree here in this location can contribute to future plans to make communities more resilient.
How exactly do you see the role of the media involved in such crisis?
Media is driving a lot of support in case especially of big disasters around the world. So as long as microphones and cameras are on site, there is also money going into these areas. This of course has advantages and also disadvantages, but I think serious journalism is an essential part also to support, first of all, the response, but also the reconstruction of these areas. And I think it would be very good if especially the media will not forget areas, because after a couple of weeks, when an event has been in the media, of course the interest is dropping down. But I think it makes sense also to follow the entire disaster management cycle. And this is not only response, it is also consisting of rebuilding, better rebuilding, reconstruction, and then leading into the phase of prevention and preparedness, so that the global community is better prepared for upcoming disasters.
Do you have any example for that, where you maybe see that the coverage has dropped off significant after such a crisis?
Well, I think this is really the very typical scheme that you can see in the first weeks when the media is arriving. Of course, you can see hundreds of cameras in case of a really international big disaster. And then after the first 3 weeks, of course, the interest is going down, and you have to find a new area where a new disaster has taken place. But in the meantime, there are already a lot of forgotten disaster or forgotten crises around the world. And there is also this difference between sudden onset disasters that are, of course, more spectacular. Think about a flood, a storm, an earthquake. But a long dry period that is increasingly affecting food security around the world, of course, is not that much spectacular. So these differences also count. And, of course, it is also the task of the media to give this neutral picture to the public, what is going on and what is happening in the world.
Okay, thanks a lot for your time.